same cliques and hierarchies that had defined our teenage years. I adjusted my simple black dress at the bar, watching my sister Amanda hold court among her old cheerleading squad. Katie still answering phones at some investment firm. I heard her tell her old friends, the same dismissive tone she'd used since I started as a receptionist at Sheffield Capital 12 years ago. "But didn't you say she was taking business classes or something?" one of her friends asked. Amanda laughed, the sound carrying across the hotel ballroom. "Oh, she takes night classes at community college. Tries to impress her bosses by sitting in on meetings. As if that'll make her more than a secretary." I sipped my champagne quietly, thinking about the meeting I'd attended just yesterday, not as a secretary but as the majority shareholder of Sheffield Capital. The same firm that was about to acquire Meridian Tech, the software company where Amanda worked as VP of Sales. My phone buzzed, a message from Michael, my CFO. "Merger documents signed. Press release scheduled for 9 a.m. tomorrow. Board votes confirmed." "Katie." Amanda's voice cut through my thoughts. She sauntered over, designer heels clicking on the marble floor. "I was just telling everyone how you're still at that investment firm. You know, Meridian's been hiring if you want a real career. I could put in a word." I smiled, remembering all the board meetings where Meridian's leadership had unknowingly pitched their company to me. "Actually, I have been attending a lot of meetings at Meridian lately." "Oh." She raised a perfectly groomed eyebrow. "Finally delivering coffee to the executive floor?" Before I could respond, both our phones buzzed, the emergency alerts we'd set for company news. Amanda's face lit up. "Oh my God," she squealed. "Meridian's announcing a major merger tomorrow. This could mean huge promotions for the executive team. I mean, for those of us in real positions." I checked my own phone. All set for tomorrow. Town hall meeting scheduled for 10 a.m. "Your security clearance as CEO has been activated." "You know," I said quietly, "I should head home. Big day at work tomorrow." "Right," Amanda smirked. "Those phones won't answer themselves." As I walked toward the exit, I heard her telling her friends about her expected promotion after the merger. If she only knew that in 12 hours she'd be learning what I really did at Sheffield Capital. And it had nothing to do with answering phones. My phone buzzed again, a message from the office. "Final paperwork complete. Your new business cards are ready, Ms. Collins. And the Wall Street Journal is requesting an exclusive about the youngest female CEO in investment banking." I stepped into my waiting car, not the Honda Civic Amanda thought I drove, but a Mercedes S-Class. Tomorrow would change everything. Tomorrow my sister would finally understand what all those meetings and night classes had really meant. And why I'd been so interested in Meridian Tech. The next morning, Meridian Tech's sleek headquarters hummed with nervous energy. Employees clustered around their computers, whispering about the merger announcement that had just hit the markets. I walked through the glass doors not as Katie Collins, the secretary, but as Catherine Collins, CEO of Sheffield Capital and their new boss. "Ms. Collins," my executive assistant Sarah greeted me in the lobby, handing me a tablet. "Meridian's board is assembled in the main conference room. Your sister just arrived as well." I smiled, thinking of all the times Amanda had told holiday gatherings about her executive meetings, while mocking my little desk job. If she only knew how many billion-dollar deals had been negotiated across that little desk. "Their stock is up 40% on the merger news," Sarah continued as we walked toward the elevators. "Though they don't know yet that Sheffield isn't just acquiring Meridian, we're completely restructuring their executive team." My phone buzzed, Michael's update. "Media already calling this the takeover of the year. Forbes wants you for their Power Women cover. Also, Amanda's been telling people she's expecting a promotion to Chief Revenue Officer." The elevator opened directly into Meridian's executive floor, where Amanda was holding court among her fellow VPs. "Obviously, Sheffield saw our revenue potential," she was saying. "My sales team's numbers probably drove the whole deal. I wouldn't be surprised if they want me to head global operations." "Actually," I said clearly, stepping out of the elevator, "we had other reasons for the acquisition." The room fell silent. Amanda's coffee cup froze halfway to her mouth. "Katie," she stammered. Why are you?" "Miss Collins," Sarah announced formally, "the board is ready for you." "Thank you, Sarah." I turned to the stunned executives. "I believe you'll all find this morning's meeting quite informative." Amanda grabbed my arm as I passed. What's going on? Why are you here? You know all those meetings you mocked me for attending? I smiled. They weren't about answering phones. They were about buying your company. The massive conference room doors opened to reveal Meridian's board of directors, all rising as I entered. Their CEO, James Morrison, stepped forward with an extended hand. Catherine, he said warmly, thank you for making this deal happen. Though I wish you told me sooner that the brilliant strategist I've been meeting with for months was also the CEO of Sheffield. Katie's the what? Amanda's voice cracked. I took my place at the head of the table, the same table where Amanda had once told me I'd never be more than support staff. Let's begin, I said, activating the room's displays. As you can see, Sheffield Capital's acquisition of Meridian isn't just about market share. It's about fundamental transformation. The screens filled with data, revenue projections, restructuring plans, global expansion strategies. Every number and chart represented months of work that my sister had dismissed as playing at business. Your sales approach is outdated, I continued, pulling up Amanda's department's numbers. Focusing on short-term gains while ignoring market evolution. That's why we're completely rebuilding the revenue strategy. Amanda sank into a chair, her designer outfit suddenly feeling less impressive than my CEO suit. But I'm VP of sales, she protested weakly. My team's numbers are inflated by unsustainable practices, I finished, displaying more data. Did you think we wouldn't notice the channel stuffing? The forward loading? The creative accounting? The other board members shifted uncomfortably. James Morrison cleared his throat. Catherine's analysis of our sales practices was enlightening. My phone buzzed, a message from our HR director. Executive restructuring announcements ready. New org chart prepared as requested. For those wondering about their positions, I continued, you'll find detailed transition plans in your folders. Some of you will be staying. Others won't. Amanda frantically flipped through her folder, her face growing paler by the second. You're firing me, she whispered. No, I corrected, remembering all the family dinners where she'd belittled my career. I'm restructuring a department that's been mismanaged by someone who valued status over substance. The room fell silent as the weight of the situation sank in. The sister they'd known as a VP was being removed by the sister she'd dismissed as a secretary. The press conference is in an hour, I added, checking my watch. CNBC is particularly interested in how a 38-year-old woman became the youngest CEO to execute a billion-dollar hostile takeover. Hostile? Amanda looked up sharply. But Morrison agreed. After I presented evidence of your department's numbers manipulation, I nodded. Amazing what you notice while sitting quietly in meetings, taking notes that everyone assumes are about coffee orders. An hour later, I stood in my new office, what had been James Morrison's corner suite overlooking the city. The wall of windows offered a perfect view of the financial district, including Sheffield Capital's headquarters where I'd started as a receptionist 12 years ago. Ms. Collins, Sarah entered. The media is assembled in the auditorium. Your family just called, they saw the news. They're in the lobby with Amanda. I smiled, remembering all the Thanksgiving dinners where they'd patronizingly asked about my little job, while celebrating Amanda's every promotion. Send them up. They entered looking shell-shocked, Mom clutching her pearls, Dad still holding the Wall Street Journal with my photo on the front page, Amanda trailing behind them like a scolded child. Before we discuss this as a family, I said, activating the wall of screens, let's look at what I've really been building while you all thought I was just answering phones. Real-time data flowed across the displays. Acquisition metrics, investment returns, global market positions. Every number told a story of success achieved through patience and intelligence rather than bravado and shortcuts. Your company valuation, Dad muttered, staring at the figures. Sheffield Capital is worth $12 billion as of market close today, I confirmed. Though that will likely jump after this merger. Turns out all those night classes and extra meetings were worth something after all. My phone buzzed, a message from Warren Buffett himself. Brilliant strategy on Meridian. Dinner next week in Omaha? Want to discuss potential partnerships? Mom sank into a chair, her hands trembling. All those times we told you to be more like Amanda were exactly the motivation I needed, I nodded. While she was bragging about corner offices and expense accounts, I was learning how companies actually work. From the ground up. Sarah entered again. Ms. Collins, the investment committee has arrived. They're eager to begin the global expansion discussion. Amanda looked up sharply. Global expansion? But my sales territory won't be your concern anymore, I finished. The new chief revenue officer starts next week. Someone who understands modern sales strategies and honest reporting. I pressed a button and more data filled the screen's years of manipulated sales reports, evidence of Amanda's departmental mismanagement, the true state of Meridian's revenue. Did you think nobody would notice? I asked quietly. Did you think those meetings where you dismissed me as the coffee girl weren't opportunities to observe everything wrong with your approach? Dad stepped forward, his banking experience finally letting him grasp the situation. You bought Meridian just to save it from itself, I nodded. And to demonstrate that true leadership isn't about titles and corner offices. It's about understanding every level of a business, even the parts you think are beneath you. My phone buzzed again. Harvard Business Review requesting interview. Title: From Reception Desk to Corner Office. The Real Path to CEO. Your sister worked hard for her position, Mom protested weakly. No, I corrected her, pulling up more data. She networked her way to a title and then faked her way through the job. Every inflated sales report, every manipulated number, I saw it all. From my little desk job. The doors opened as the investment committee filed in, followed by international executives. The contrast between their serious demeanor and my family's shocked expressions couldn't have been starker. The global strategy meeting starts now, I said, gathering my materials. Amanda, HR has your separation package. I trust you'll find your own way out. Unlike some, I don't believe family connections should determine professional outcomes. Amanda stood, tears streaming down her face. Katie, I never knew. That's the problem, I replied. You never thought to look past appearances. You never considered that the sister you mocked might be silently building an empire while you were bragging about middle management. As they turned to leave, I called out, "Oh, and Amanda? The security desk downstairs has an opening. I hear it's a great place to learn how a business really works." The room filled with executives as my family shuffled out. I took my place at the head of the table, remembering all the times I'd served coffee in rooms just like this. Let's begin, I said, pulling up our global strategy deck. Unlike our previous ownership, we believe success is built from the ground up, not inherited or faked. As the presentation started, I caught my reflection in the window. No longer the sister they'd dismissed as just a secretary, but the CEO who'd learned that every role, every position, every job had value, if you were smart enough to learn from it. My phone buzzed one final time, a message that made me smile. Wall Street Journal. Catherine Collins named CEO of the Year. From reception desk to revolutionary, how quiet observation beat loud ambition. Sometimes success isn't about rising through the ranks the way others expect. Sometimes it's about understanding that every position is an opportunity to learn, to observe, to plan. And sometimes, the person they assume is just taking notes is actually taking names. As the meeting began, I thought about the nameplates being changed throughout the building. Every Amanda Collins, VP of Sales, being replaced with evidence of what happens when you mistake quietness for weakness, observation for subservience. Because in the end, the sister they thought would